just evil. Like, there's nothing like her.
Why would she even tweet that? Like, don't you have
I think she just sits around in her evil lair whenever she runs out of eye of newt and small children to boil.
Hillary Clinton is one of the most disgusting human beings on the planet.
Very much so.
Always has been, always will be, and will be inserting clips on her response to Benghazi several times throughout the interview. I want to show who she is.
Okay, listen up. Hillary just got thrown back in the spotlight, and it's not from some reporter, but from Tyrus the wrestler turned talk guy who just spilled all her secrets like wild gossip, and girl, those skeletons in her closet ain't quiet. They're straight up dancing, and this whole thing feels like she just got slammed right into her past and everyone's losing it.
Talks, you kind of get why Bill did what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, it's kind of like, again, I don't condone, cheating, but that's your morning.
Yeah.
You gotta kiss that before you go to bed at night, and then you gotta sleep with one eye open.
Yeah.
Because your buddy Epstein didn't off himself, and she has all this extra footage cut up in the closet. Like,
okay, before we jump in, hit that like and sub button because this one's wild. So Hillary walks into the spotlight like she owns the whole place, holding this crazy long resume that could be a shopping receipt, but somehow people still ain't buying it. Like, seriously, she's got money, power, and every big name in her phone, but her career still looks like that one kid in gym class who talks big but can't even make the shot.
Hear things that we find so fundamentally hard to believe. I mean, I'm in that category. People say things like, oh, that could never happen. But having been a close observer now for quite a number of years of our current president, you have to suspend your disbelief. And you have to do two things simultaneously. You have to both listen to what he says, because he often telegraphs what he...
So get this, Hillary somehow pulled off the impossible. She lost to Donald Trump. Yeah, let that sink in. It wasn't just a loss, it was a full-on legendary flop. She had everything ready, the money, the power, the fancy backers, but still managed to trip right into the mud, all because she didn't bother showing up in Wisconsin. Like, come on, girl, that place got cheese and voters. How you gonna skip that?
Just to believe it was a big naughty redhead that was going around, was gonna ruin the world and do all kinds of bad things to us. Turns out the catfish was, hey, we don't boo here, but for this one time, you may boo.
You gotta laugh because Hillary is like the queen of mixed signals. She talks about helping normal folks, but then goes and gives fancy talks to rich bankers making more in a minute than most families do in a month. Like, girl, how you calling yourself one of us while cashing those giant checks from Wall Street? It's like showing up to a chill backyard BBQ wearing diamonds and saying, yeah, I get you guys.
She tore for lying to the American people and ruining 2 years of Trump's presidency and affecting elections with Russiagate, impeachment, and fake dossiers. Oh yeah, let's not forget the P-tape. Turns out it was the Democrats and the lefty media peeing down our backs and telling it was rain.
Honestly, her political sense is like one of those messed up GPS apps that tells you to turn left straight into a river and you kind of want to trust it, but deep down, you know it's lost. That's basically Hillary. Every time something big happens, she's on the wrong side first, then later switches up like she meant it all along. Not because she changed, but because she finally saw what people wanted, like that one kid turning in homework late hoping the teacher still gives a pass.
The most unlikable candidate in the history of presidents, and that's saying a lot.
But Biden says the same thing.
He's number 2. When Biden says something, does anyone be like, oh?
Right.
No, they used to go, oh.
So the whole email mess was crazy. Like, Hillary had this secret server that was so weak even a kid could hack it, and she acted like it was nothing. Then came Benghazi, where she sat there cool and smirking through it all, and when 2016 rolled around, the party just handed her the spot like it was owed to her. She was so sure she'd win, had her playlist ready and everything, but forgot to win over the people and then looked shocked when it all fell apart.
Dealing with the Hillary Clinton emails from a couple years ago saying how she should be in jail and all this other stuff. And it's just point to point to point to point exactly what just happened, proving once and for all it had absolutely nothing to do with Hillary Clinton's emails. It had everything to do with attacking Hillary Clinton, and these people are just so desperate for it that that's what they went for. And of course, their hypocrisy is just out on stage for everybody to see.
Girl, the excuses were endless. She blamed everyone from Russia to Facebook to the FBI to even random Bernie fans. Like, come on, at some point you gotta look in the mirror. Her loss wasn't some big plot. It was just the universe finally telling her, chill out. She'd been dodging that reality check since the 90s, trying to clean up Bill's drama while acting like the boss herself. And then she went and insulted half the women in the country with that cookie comment like, who does that? She voted for the Iraq War too, and when it blew up, she was like, oh, I got misled. Like, seriously, girl, you didn't even read the details before saying yes.
You know, Tyrus, and this goes back to 2016, people were reluctant to talk to pollsters and say, I like Donald Trump. And now, fast forward 8 years later, essentially they're saying, if you like him, you're in a cult. Do you really want to be in a cult?
If the cult that Hillary doesn't like, yeah, sign me in. What do I need? Is it a red hat? I'll get.
When she was Secretary of State, Hillary was flying everywhere, bragging about visiting over 100 countries like that somehow made her a world saver. But really, it just made her a fancy traveler with a free jet. And her trying to act cool for young people was pure cringe, like that hot sauce in the purse moment. Please, girl, that was no vibe. Her speeches sounded like school lessons. Nobody asked for all robotic and practiced. She wanted to look fun and chill, but ended up proving she's way better at talking to cameras than connecting with real people.
When the losing side or someone, she's just a very unlikable person and will say anything to get this attention. But here's the thing, it's changed. People, America has changed. We no longer listen to that stuff. Now when they say it, we go, that's why I didn't vote for you.
The crazy thing about Hillary is she had it all: the name, the money, the power, the years of experience, everything lined up like a sure win. But somehow people still didn't trust her. She came off too practiced, too polished, like every word she said was approved by a team. Before it left her mouth, it didn't feel real, and that whole family power vibe, like the Clintons were born to rule, just made folks roll their eyes because nobody likes being told who's next in line. Now she just pops up every now and then like a ghost from old politics, still talking like she was meant to be president and acting like the country owes her a big sorry. But girl, that's not how it works.
Logic makes no sense, but why would she say it? You know, I mean, we can't just keep saying TDS. It's something else. It is. I think these are I think they're ego damaged people.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't make any sense.
Look, she was going to be the first woman president.
Yes.
And who
Isn't
is
that
she?
the best?
If Hillary's got one thing, it's survival. She's been through every scandal, every mess, and still somehow stays standing. Like nothing can break her, from old dramas to new ones. She just keeps going, like she's waiting for the world to finally give her the crown she always wanted. But instead of being remembered as a trailblazer, she turned into a lesson about how chasing power too hard makes people stop believing in you. Because no matter how big your plans are, they mean nothing if you forget the people you're supposed to lead.
Should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian.
Hillary really wanted the world to see her as a trailblazer, breaking barriers and making history. But instead, people remember her as the one who lost to Trump. The biggest plot twist in politics. She had every chance to win, but her story turned into a warning for anyone who thinks fame and power automatically mean victory. And the wild part is, every time her name pops up, there's another scandal tagged like Whitewater or Travelgate, like it's a never-ending family game of who can stir up the most drama. And honestly, her old business deals were so messy, nobody even knew what was going on. It was like trying to play Monopoly and somehow ending up with real-life FBI problems.
Best achievement Trump ever did when they read the history books. It'll be like, maybe there'll be these wars will be solved in economy, but then there'll be a two-page spread on how he beat Hillary and how that will always be. He'll be on Mount Rushmore for that. They should do like called a Mount Trump, where they have the heads of the people he beat. So they've already got Hillary, and they got Kamala, and then maybe he can run again. You know, we still don't know, right?
One of his best lines ever was when he was first elected, and the people around him said, "We got to go for Hillary now. Lock her up, lock her up." And he said, "Nah, just let it go. She lost. She's going to have to live with that for the..."
So here's the thing. The Clinton Foundation was meant to look like this big world-saving project, but it ended up feeling more like a fancy club for rich folks buying favors. The donations were rolling in when Hillary was powerful, but the second her spotlight dimmed, poof, the generosity vanished like magic. And then there was that uranium deal that sounded like a bad spy movie. Whether true or not, it looked shady. And instead of reading the room, she went and called a bunch of voters deplorable, which was basically her yelling at people she needed on her side and then wondering why nobody wanted to help her win.
Haggard old woman. I ran against her in 2006 for the Senate. She was riding high. She was going to be the first woman president. The world was at her feet, and now look at her.
Yeah, is that the greatest?
I mean, you don't even want to look at her.
Done. The greatest achievement Trump ever did when they read the history books. It'll be like maybe there'll be these wars will be solved in economy, but then there'll be a two-page spread on how he beat Hillary and how that will always be. He'll be on Mount Rushmore.
It's kind of wild because Hillary actually had the brains and skills to be a solid president. She knew policies inside out and stayed super organized, but people don't vote for homework energy. They want someone who feels real and strong, not like a bossy teacher. She chased power so hard for so long that she forgot to just be human. And when it all fell apart in 2016, it was like watching a dream melt in slow motion, and now, no matter how many times she talks about what could have been, the world has already moved on while she's still standing there trying to figure out how it slipped away.
She is right that the kids on the subway aren't scared, though, but that's because they're in gangs.
That's true.
You know, per Katie's point earlier, though, she is essentially, if you follow her logic, violent crime, good, leave it alone.
So here's the twist. Hillary spent decades chasing that big moment to make history, and in a way, she did. Just not the way she planned. She came closer than any woman ever had, but then lost to a guy who treated scandals like trophies instead of smashing through barriers. She somehow turned into one herself. Shiny tough, but blocking the path for others. Her legacy ended up being this mix of smarts and slip-ups, confidence and coldness. She dreamed of being remembered as the one who changed it all, but now she's seen as proof that thinking you deserve power isn't the same as earning it. And yeah, people still remember her, just not with the story she wanted. And if you're loving all this drama and truth talk, then you gotta stick around because things are just getting started. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and join the fam right here on Jacob Reports, where the real stories never stop spilling.